जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवारधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की श्री श्री राधाष्टमी महा switch on this fan a little far away. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Site Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Veshya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Deenatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you to our Sri Sri Radhastami Katha. How much time do I have? 10 o'clock? Okay. So, you have to bear with me till 10 o'clock and then Prem Sarup Prabhu will speak in Hindi, the sweet pastimes of Srimati Radharani. Of all the different calendar dates that we all have, all the Vaishnavas, all the devotees of everyone consider Janmashtami as the most important date. Devotees mark Janmashtami as the most important event in the entire year for getting the mercy of Krishna. But Krishna also has a calendar. And in Krishna's calendar, Krishna puts Radhastami as the most important date. And as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that we do not worship Radharani because she is related to Krishna. We worship Krishna because he is related to Srimati Radharani. Our main mistress is Srimati Radharani. As our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, of all the important events, Radhastami is the most important event. This verse that is put on the board that we will recite today is written by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. And today we will discuss on this verse. All of you repeat after me. Yo Brahma Rudra Sukha Narada Bhishma Mukhye आलक्षितो न सहसा पुरुषस्य तस्य सद्यो वशीकरणचूर्णमनन्तसक्ते तां राधिका चरणरेणुमनुस्मरामि। यो ब्रह्मरुद्रसुकनारदभीष्ममुख्ये आलक्षितो न सहसा पुरुषस्य तस्य सद्यो वशीकरणचूर्णमनन्तसक्ते तां राधिका चरणरेणुमनुस्मरामि। Yes, please recite. आलक्ष्य साध्यो वशीकरणचूर्णमनन्तसक्ते तां राधिका चरणरेणुमनुस्मरामि। ओ ब्रह्मरुद्रसुकनारदभीष्ममुख्ये आलक्षितो न सहसा पुरुषस्य तस्य सद्यो वशीकरणचूर्णमनन्तसक्ते तां राधिका चरणरेणुमनुस्मरामि। Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Translation. I constantly remember the foot dust of Sri Radhika, whose unlimited power instantly subdues even the Supreme Person Sri Krishna, who himself cannot be easily seen even by the greatest devotees like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Sukadev Goswami, Narad Muni and Bhishma. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur ki jai. So in this verse, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur mentions about how rare is Krishna's association. Vedeshu durlabha adurlabha atma bhakto. Krishna's association, Krishna's darshan is Vedeshu durlabha. It is completely rare, even by these great personalities who are mentioned in this verse. Brahma, Rudra, Sukha, Narada, Bhishma, Mukhya, all other devotees. Na sahasa. They don't even have the power to even think about taking darshan of the Supreme Lord. That Supreme Lord, who is so rare, who is so great, at once, sadhyo matlab suddenly, at once, vasikarana, he comes under control. Churnam ananta saktin, as if all his unlimited power has been powdered to dust and he has become a puppet. Vasikaran, tam radhika, that supreme goddess of fortune, Srimati Radharani. Renu manusmarami, I remember her dust. Srila Prabhupada in his class on Radhastami would first glorify Krishna, glorify Krishna, glorify Krishna, glorify Krishna, and in the end, after entire glorification of Krishna for almost 30 minutes, for 1 minute, Srila Prabhupada would say that just see, if such a glorious Krishna is running after Radharani, what would be the glory of Srimati Radharani? That was Srila Prabhupada's Radhastami class, because most of us, 99.99% of all of us, are not qualified to hear about Srimati Radharani. One devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, you never spoke about Ras Leela. Srila Prabhupada said, I may be qualified to speak, but you may not be qualified to hear. Hare Krishna. So all of us, we understand that we have no power to actually understand the glories of Srimati Radharani. But based on what Acharyas have spoken, I would like to extol some of her wonderful glories. Srila Prabhupada, when he used to sing this song, one time, this Jai Radha Madhav, one time he started crying and said that this song contains the entire Vrindavan Dham. And the entire Vrindavan Dham gypped, encapsulated at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And today we are going to discuss about the auspicious marks on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, during the Ras Leela, where Krishna leaves the gopis and goes with Srimati Radharani, and all the gopis are searching for Krishna, and they found lotus feet of Krishna and lotus feet of another gopi. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this gopi is Srimati Radharani. And there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the commentary, in the purport, explains about the 19 special marks, auspicious marks on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So we will sing Radhika Ashtakam, and we will see how these different verses, 8 verses, explain about various signs in the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So you need to open certain files so that it becomes easier, because we do not have a projector. I have sent the files to Hari Prasad. Those who want, they can take from him. You have to open Radhika Ashtakam. Hare Krishna. So you have to open Radhika Ashtakam, and also you have, if you type the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, you will get in Google the picture of the lotus feet of Radharani, so that it becomes easier for all of you to go through the class. I'll take some time for all of you to open it. Kumkumakta kanchanabcha garvahari gaurava radhikashtakam. You put Kumkumakta kanchanabcha and type KK songs. It will give you the link to Radhikashtakam. And then you put Radharani's lotus feet. It will give you the image of Radharani's lotus feet. Yeah? So we start. Recently I was hearing one class by His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj. In that, Maharaj was asking, he was telling that the car is standing and the car is standing and the car is not moving, or if the car wants to move, there is something that is required to be put in the car. Yes? That is the fuel. The fuel is actually the active principle which runs the car. And Maharaj was telling how the mercy of Srimati Radharani is the propellant, is the fuel that helps us to advance in Krishna Bhakti. If we want to advance in Krishna Bhakti, the propellant is not our endeavor. We may chant, we may read Srimad Bhagavatam, we may do all fasting, but even the great Goswamis who came from Sri Vrindavan Dham, the Manjaris, they are roaming around in Vrindavan and chanting, He Radhe, He Brajadevike Chalalite. How do we get your mercy? So the mercy of Srimati Radharani is the propellant for our bhakti. So we will sing the first verse, and I hope all of you have opened it, and also the picture of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. This is 2 beat. Someone can play Mridang. 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 Kumkumata kanchanabja garvahari gaurabha pitanachita jagandha kirti nindi saurabha. Everyone. Pitanachita jagandha kirti nindi saurabha Vallavesha sunu sharva vanchitartha sadhika Mahyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā Mahyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Mahyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Let me surrender at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. O Srimati Radharani, give service at your lotus feet. Service is so important. I remember in one time, you all know how in Rath Yatra, so much of tight security, especially in front of Jagannath. The Jagannath, when he's there, and then there is Rath Puja, and so much of tight security, and Mamata Banerjee comes, and it's really, really tight security. And I had a desire that I will go in front and take darshan, because Jagannath was not visible among all the Odissi dancers and all the security, everything is becoming difficult. So I was thinking, how? Then one devotee had brought a big pot of something. I said, there are more pots? He said, yes. So then I sent him to get more pots, and I took that pot. And when I took that pot, when I reached the security, he said, "No, you cannot go, you do not have the VIP pass." I said, "This is for Jagannath in the Rath." Said, okay, Jagannath. So all the security, all the Odissi dancers, everyone just gave way, and I went and took darshan at the chariot of Jagannath. So this is also the technique of going to Vrindavan Dham. We need to get a pot of service to get rid of the tight security of Durga Devi and all those people who were there as the fortress of this material world. And that service at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani offers us entrance to Sri Vrindavan Dham. So there is a special sign on the lotus feet of Radharani, which is like a flag. If you see I think it's on the, yes, it's on the left lotus feet under the lotus flower. You could see on the middle of the lotus feet, there is a sign called the flag. So the flag glorifies Srimati Radharani's beauty and how Srimati Radharani is actually Vrindavaneshwari. Kumkumakta kanchanabja garva hari gaurava. Srimati Radharani has a complexion like a molten gold. Now, generally, gold is very prized, mainly because it is the most beautiful, precious metal. And also, the gold is proud because whenever a lady who is beautiful wears golden ornaments, the lady becomes beautiful. So the gold thinks, "Oh, you see, I made her beautiful. She was looking like a normal lady, now she is looking like empress." Why? Because she is wearing me. Garva hari gaurava. But when the golden ornaments, they are decorating the body of Srimati Radharani, the golden ornaments, they think, "Oh, I have no place here. Her body is so beautiful." And the gold gets decorated by the beauty of Srimati Radharani. Generally, a normal lady of this world, her body gets decorated by the golden ornaments. But the gold feels extremely fortunate that I am so fortunate that I am in the body of Srimati Radharani. And that's how the flag at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani extols that how glorious is Srimati Radharani and how she brings all auspiciousness in Vrindavan Dham. There is a song written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur called Vrindavan Ashtakam. In that song, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains why there is so much of happiness in Vrindavan Dham. He says that Yatradhipatyam Vrishabhanuputrya Yenodayet Prema Sukham Janana. Yatradhipatyam Vrishabhanuputrya. Because Sri Vrindavan Dham, the Adhipatya, the entire control of Sri Vrindavan Dham is given to Srimati Radharani, Yeno Dayat. Because of that, the entire Vrindavan Dham is filled with Prema and Sukha. So similarly, if we accept the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and we'll constantly remember the marks that are present on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, our heart will also get filled up with the Krishna Prem, the love for Krishna. And there is a beautiful pastime in Sri Vrindavan Dham describing this pastime, how Srimati Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. The gopis, just to meet Krishna, used to go for selling buttermilk. And you know how the gopis, they go, generally, if you have to carry something on your head, you have to put your hand like this. But the gopis would just put the matka on the top and just walk seamlessly. It's not that they would be putting their hand like this and they would go and they'll be keep on discussing about Krishna. And there is a village in Vrindavan called the Chhata. It's near Paigram, near the main highway, Kosi highway, Mathura Koshi highway. So in this village Chhata, there are big trees where Krishna would be sitting on the trees, on the branches, and Subal would be on the ground. Now Subal Sakha exactly looks like Srimati Radharani. Exactly. Sometimes in Yavat when they want to meet Krishna, all the Sakhis would call Subal Sakha, dress Subal as Radharani with all the Sringar of Radharani and make him or her, whatever, sit in Yavat along with some Sakhis. And Jatila and Kutila would think, oh, Radharani is there, Radharani is there. And Subal will be his or her, whatever it is. His heart would be beating. What if Jatila realizes that I am not Radha? And then Radharani would wear the cloths of Subal and leave to meet Krishna. There is a beautiful image, picture depicting this pastime if you go to Yavat. How many of you have gone to Yavat? I don't know whether you remember. Srimati Radharani wearing Subal Sakha's dress is holding a small calf and running around, and Subal is sitting decorated as Radharani just to fool Jatila and Kutila. So Subal Sakha, because he always helps the Sakhis, that's why the Sakhis are very nicely they talk with Subal. They always put trust on Subal. So Subal would be sitting on near the root of the tree, and all Krishna and everyone would be sitting way high that they will not be visible, because if you have to put a pot on your head and you have to walk, you cannot look up. If you look up, all your dahi will go down. So all the Sakhis will go look down or go like this, and they will meet Subal. And Subal will ask, give us tax. He said, what tax? Now this is Krishna's place. And this is Krishna's kingdom. And you go and sell the dahi and you do business and you get a lot of money. Don't you think that you have to give tax? Because it is because of Krishna's protection you are able to freely sell dahi. Otherwise Kamsa will come and he will stop your business. He said, no, Srimati Radharani is the Empress of Vrindavan. You are wrong. And then there will be discussion back and forth. Subal will be glorifying Krishna. Lalita Devi, Visakha Devi will be glorifying Radharani, and there will be back and forth discussion. Meanwhile, Krishna, who is sitting on the top of the branch, he will pick up all the matkas from the head of the gopis and feed all the monkeys, all the gopas who are on the top of the tree, and put the matka or the pot silently, very nicely again on the head. And then when the job is done, then Krishna would give a signal to Subal, and Subal will, okay, Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. Okay, very good. Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. And then they will leave. And they would get so immersed in glorifying Krishna that Radharani and Lalita Devi, after going little ahead, Lalita will ask, Radhe, my head is becoming light. Radharani will say, yes, because we got rid of that horrible friend of Krishna, Subal, and that's how our head is light. And Visakha will say that my head is also light. And Radharani will say, my head is also light. And then they will take out the matka and nothing is there. And in this way, most of the times Radharani and all the Sakhis will get cheated. One time, they didn't appear. All the Sakhis didn't appear for selling. And Subal was waiting and waiting and waiting. Madhumangal was waiting for the dahi and nothing, no one appeared. So they started roaming to different places. And then they slept. on the tree branches. Near the tree, everyone slept. And all the gopis, like a gorilla warfare, they came and silently tied all the sikhas, all the hairs. Some of the hairs were tied with some other gopa's hair. Some hairs and some cloths were tied, and everyone was tired. And then the gopis made such a screaming sound. All the gopas got up, and because everyone was tired, they were feeling great pain and shouting. And the gopis, they attacked Krishna. They caught Krishna, and then the gopis, and all the gopas, they were crying, and then the gopis said, declare now that our Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. Then we will release all your gopas. And then Krishna, what he is going to do? He said, yes. Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. And then the gopas were released, and Krishna is given a dress of a constable. So now, because Radharani is the empress and Lalita is the prime minister, you are supposed to get some job, because you cannot behave like a king and just roam around. So what job you will take? And Krishna said, I will become a constable, protecting Radharani's kingdom and glorifying different glories through the flute. So it was agreed upon that Krishna will play his flute, only glorifying Srimati Radharani and roaming around Sri Vrindavan Dham and protecting Sri Vrindavan Dham. One time, some of the gopis heard that Krishna is playing flute, glorifying some other gopis, and especially Chandravali. All the gopis, they became so upset. They stole the flute of Krishna. And Krishna started searching the flute. And then Krishna came to Radharani and Lalita and said, Ki, my flute is stolen. And all the gopis, they said, entire Vrindavan Dham will become peaceful now. We are so happy that your flute is stolen. But if you are the police of Vrindavan, and if your things are getting stolen, how safe we are in Vrindavan then? Then I think you should wear the dress of a lady, and we should wear the dress of police and protect Vrindavan, because you are useless in protecting Vrindavan Dham. And the gopis catch Krishna and make him wear Radharani's dress and put him or her, whatever it is, at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So in this way, this entire pastime happened in a village called Umrao. Umrao means the place of glorification of Srimati Radharani. Sri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Shri Radharani ki jai. So the flag on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani glorifies the wonderful beauty and the glories of Srimati Radharani as Vrindavaneshwari. And anyone who surrenders at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani also attains the real victory in life. The real victory in life is actually to enter Sri Vrindavan Dham. So anyone who surrenders at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani attains the real victory. And in the second line of this verse, Ballaveshu Sunu Sarva Vanchitartha Sadhika. Srimati Radharani fulfills all the desires of Krishna. Ballava Isha, who is the king of Vrindavan, Sunu, the son of the king of Vrindavan, that is Nanda Maharaj's son, Krishna, Sarva Vanchitartha, all the desires are fulfilled by Srimati Radharani. So you would see that there is a wonderful mark of a fish at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Yes? You saw? Where is the fish? Yes. So on the right feet hill, there is a wonderful fish mark. And our acharyas say how fish represents the insignia of the Kamadev, or all the desires. And Krishna actually conquers Kamadev, but Srimati Radharani conquers Krishna. That's why Krishna is called Madan Mohan and Srimati Radharani is called Madan Mohan Mohini. In one, there is a quarrel between, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reaches Bahulaban, you all know Bahulaban in Vrindavan. So, one parrot, one he and she parrot, they come and they start fighting on behalf of Radharani and Krishna, that who is greater. And a wonderful song is written by our Gaudiya Acharyas in Bengali on this, which is called Sukha Saristava. It says that how Srimati Radharani is, Krishna says, the Sukha says that my Krishna is Madan Mohan. And the Sari says, because my Radharani is there beside Krishna, that's why he could conquer the Cupid. Sukha kahe amar Krishna Madana Mohan, Sari kahe amar Radha Bame Jatakshan. So long my Radharani is in the left of Krishna, Krishna could conquer the Cupid. Otherwise Krishna is conquered by Cupid. So the fish and the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani explains how Srimati Radharani has the power to conquer all the desires and satisfy all the desires of Krishna. And just like the fish stays in the water, as soon as it's taken out of water, similarly Srimati Radharani always desires for association with Krishna. We know the famous story where Krishna desires in Vrindavan Dham to come to Bhauma Vrindavan. And when Krishna expresses his desire to Srimati Radharani, Radharani says that I would not go if Govardhan is not there, Yamuna is not there, the entire Vrindavan Dham is not there. And Krishna says, everyone has come already to the earth and everyone is waiting for both of us to descend. And then Srimati Radharani asks for a boon to Krishna. And the boon is that when I reach, the first person I would like to see when I open my eyes is you, O my Lord. And we hear the famous pastime where Vrishabhanu Maharaj, after long waiting, founds a beautiful girl child on 1,000-petal lotus on this day near Raval, and brings the girl to home saying, Kirtida, Kirtida, our desires are fulfilled, our prayers are being heard, we got such a wonderful girl child. And they started waking up the child, but the eyes were closed. And then Sri Narad Muni comes to take darshan of Krishna, and Narad Muni understands that if Krishna is there, then Radharani will also come. And then Narad Muni comes to different places, goes to different places in Vrindavan and asks, I want to give you benediction, I want to give you benediction. And all the Brajavasis says, please give us benediction. No, not to you. I want to give benediction to your children. And all the Brajavasis, they bring their different children, their grandchildren, everyone to take blessings. And Narad Muni would constantly, nicely scrutinize, is this Radha, is this Radha, is this Radha? And no one was Radharani. And finally, Narad Muni reaches Vrishabhanu's palace. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj brings Sridama, the elder brother of Srimati Radharani. And Narad Muni becomes so disappointed. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj asks, why you are disappointed? Now, do you have anyone else? He said, yes, but this girl, I think, is inauspicious. because her eyes are closed and we don't know what to do. And Narad Muni says, can I take darshan of your daughter? And then when Narad Muni takes darshan, Narad Muni puts his head at the feet and puts again and again. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj says, Munibar, what is happening? And nothing is happening. My journey to Sri Vrindavan Dham is successful by taking darshan of your daughter. Can I spend some confidential time, private time with your daughter? And then when Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Kirtida Maharani, they all go away, Srimati Radharani gives darshan to Narad Muni, her Nitya Kishori form, and blesses Narad Muni and says, don't speak this to anyone. And Narad Muni comes out and says, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, conduct a very wonderful birthday celebration and invite everyone, and specifically invite your friend Nanda Maharaj, and all your desires will be fulfilled. And we know the story how Vrishabhanu Maharaj invites Nanda Maharaj, and Krishna touches Radharani, and finally Radharani's eyes get open. Because just like a fish can only survive in the water, Srimati Radharani's all senses can only survive in presence of Krishna. And then there is a special sign of a mountain. If you see, it's on the right lotus feet, the top. Yes? Our acharyas explained that this mountain represents Govardhan. Srimati Radharani, just like Govardhan, fulfills all the desires of Krishna and facilitates the service of Sri Krishna. And any one of us who surrender to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani can also get the eternal residence in Govardhan Dham, near Govardhan, near Radha Kund. Raghunath Das Goswami has written a song praying and begging to Srimati Radharani, Radharani's lotus feet, to give residence near Govardhan. And our acharyas explain the sign of the mountain and the right lotus feet of Srimati Radharani explains how Srimati Radharani facilitates all the service of Krishna in Vrindavan Dham, and anyone devotee who surrenders at her feet can get eternal residence near Govardhan Dham. Hare Krishna. So we will recite the second verse. Kauravinda kanti nindi chitrapata satika Krishna mata bringa keli phula puspa vatika. Krishna Nitya Sangamatha Padma Bandhu Rādhikā Mahyamatma Pada Padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Kauravinda Kantinindi. Kaura is actually a coral. Most of the English word comes from Sanskrit origin. Coral. You know coral reef? Under the sea water there are blue corals. So Srimati Radharani wears the dress. Chitra Patta Satika. Chitra matlab there are a lot of decorations on her sari, which is of patta, silken sari. And the beautiful blue sari, the dress that Srimati Radharani wears to remember Krishna, it crushes the pride of a beautiful blue coral. If you know the blue coral are so beautiful that people spend sometimes millions of dollars to go to this coral reef, do scuba diving just to get the darshan of this blue coral. There is a place called Coral Reef and there are very beautiful corals and people spend lot of money, do scuba diving and go down and see the beauty of this coral. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that how Srimati Radharani's dress, it shatters the pride of this blue coral. Kanti, Nindi matlab ninda karna, criticizes, hey, what you are useless, you are not beautiful at all. So there is a special sign on Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, that is the club. You see a club is there. Yes, on the right lotus feet near the chariot, the middle, there is a club. And our acharyas explain how this club actually shatters. The club in the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani explains how the beauty of Radharani, the dress of Srimati Radharani, everything shatters the pride of all the beautiful things in this world. Whatever beautiful thing you see in this world looks the most ugliest cockroach or whatever it is. You know, cockroach is, I think, beautiful. But most ugliest in front of Srimati Radharani's beauty, and it shatters the pride of all beautiful things. Krishna matta bringa keli pulla puspa vatika. Now you see, Kaviraj Goswami has explained the wonderful things about Radharani, how she is golden in color, she is wearing just in your mind imagine, she is golden in color, very, very beautiful, and she is wearing a blue color silken dress, and then there is the red color lips, and the feet is red, and the hands are red, and Krishna thinks that Srimati Radharani is like a beautiful flower having different colors. Krishna matta bringa keli, and Krishna becomes a bumblebee, bringa, and pulla puspa vatika. Krishna goes to the flower of Srimati Radharani and becomes a mad bumblebee to taste the nectar of Srimati Radharani. And that's why there is also a sign of a flower on the left lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Yes? Did you see? Under the flag, there is a sign of a flower. There are two personalities. One is a bumblebee and one is a honeybee. Bumblebee never stores honey and tastes all the honey. Honeybee stores all the honey and tastes none of the honey. So a materialistic person is compared in Srimad Bhagavatam to a honeybee. Now one may say, wow, it's a glorification, honeybee. We say Saragrahi, honeybee takes only the honey. No, it is not in that context. A materialistic person is compared to a honeybee in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, and a spiritualist is compared to a bumblebee. The materialistic person collects the honey thinking that I'll enjoy and I'll enjoy and I'll enjoy and I'll enjoy, and never enjoys anything. And Americans, reporters, they used to tell Srila Prabhupada, all of your disciples and you yourself, you are not working, you are not doing anything, you are enjoying more opulence than all of us. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, because we are serving Radha and Krishna, and that's why we are getting everything. So the devotees of the Lord, when they surrender at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, become like a bumblebee, that they enjoy all the opulences of this world and also enjoy all the opulences of the spiritual world. And the flower explains how Srimati Radharani's qualities are so fragrant that Krishna gets attracted to her. And just like a flower at the feet of the Lord, it spreads its fragrance everywhere. Srimati Radharani's qualities, the fragrance of our qualities, spreads everywhere. And everyone in Vrindavan, the whole sole purpose of all the Brajavasis in Vrindavan is to make Radha Krishna meet and enhance their pastime. Even Jatila, even Kutila, even the right-wing gopis of Chandravali, Padma and Saivya, even those who are rival to Srimati Radharani, their only purpose is to enhance Srimati Radharani's association with Krishna and happiness with Krishna. And there are 26 Vaishnav qualities, and our acharyas explain that these Vaishnav qualities, they are like fragrant. When they awaken in the heart of a Vaishnava, he becomes fragrant like a flower. And anyone who surrenders at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani becomes fragrant and develops these 26 beautiful Vaishnav qualities. And another beautiful thing our acharyas explain is that whenever any fruit comes, the first thing that comes before the fruit is the flower. So exactly in the same way, if we want to taste the fruit of the love of Godhead, love of Krishna, we have to surrender at the flower of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and that's why there is a sign of a flower at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And then there is another sign of the lotus flower. And the lotus flower represents what is mentioned in this song, Krishna Nitya Sangamartha Padma Bandhu Radhika. Padma Bandhu. Padma is lotus flower, and Padma Bandhu, who is the friend of the lotus flower? Sun. Because when the sun rises, the lotus blooms. When the sun hides, the lotus also contracts. So Srimati Radharani considers Surya Dev also her friend, because Surya Dev gives her facility to meet Krishna. In traditional times, people worship now also, they worship Surya Dev, like in Bihar there is Chhat Puja. Yes? Chhat Puja is actually the worship of Surya Narayan, also Surya Dev. They worship, they offer all the food items to Narayan, and they offer that Maha Prasad to Surya Dev. That is basically Chhat Puja. I don't know how they do it right now, but that's how it is, that they offer Vishnu Prasad, Narayan Prasad to Surya Dev. Now Surya Dev is worshipped for good health. And Jatila and Kutila, they always want to worship Surya Dev, and it's just like the Chhat is done by the ladies, Jatila and Kutila and Vrindavan, they force Srimati Radharani to worship Surya Dev so that Abhimanyu gets good health. And in the name of worshipping Surya Dev, Srimati Radharani comes and performs wonderful pastimes in Sri Vrindavan. And that's why Surya Dev is friend of Srimati Radharani, and there is a lotus flower at the feet of Radharani. Lotus flower also represents Mother Lakshmi. And we all know how Mother Lakshmi surrenders at the feet of Radharani, and how Radharani is the source of all Lakshmi of the Vaikuntha. And another quality of lotus flower is that the lotus, it grows and it is called as pankaj. Pankaj means it comes out in panka or mud, but it does not touch the mud. The mud for the devotee, our acharyas explain how the desire for jnana, karma and yoga siddhis. These are all mud in devotional service, in our path to pure devotional service. This desire for fruitive activities, the desire for puja, labh, pratishtha, and get something out of service to Krishna, the desire to control everyone, those who are servants of Krishna, the desire to get some skills and mesmerize the audience, these are all mud in the path of pure devotional service to Krishna. And our acharyas explained by surrendering, any devotee who surrenders to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani gets rid of the mud or gets immune, that these mud of fruitive activity will never touch such a personality, such a devotee. And that's why there is a sign of a lotus flower in Radharani's lotus feet. And the last one which glorifies this verse is a Trishul or Sakti. You see? Yes? I don't know where it is. The one side of the chariot is the Gada, and the other side there is a Trishul. So one of the expansion of Srimati Radharani in this material world is actually Durga Devi, who holds a Trishul to punish all the living entities with the threefold miseries of the world. And anyone who surrenders to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet can get rid of the holder of Trishul, that is Durga Devi. Her Durga Puja is coming. We are all Mahisasur. We have two ways. Get killed by Durga Devi's Trishul or surrender to Radharani's lotus feet. Celebrate Radhashtami or Durga Puja. That's why most of our yatras we plan in Durga Puja. Go to Vrindavan Dham, get holidays. All glories to Durga Devi. She has to give NOC, no objection certificate, for all of us to go to Vrindavan Dham. We should not. She is actually the expansion, the material expansion, that Bhu Sakti. And anyone who surrenders at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani can get rid of this Bhu Sakti's control, the three material modes control, and get shelter of another three Saktis, that is Sambit, Ladini and Sandhini of the spiritual world. That is represented by the Sakti Tattva. Anyone who surrenders to Radharani's lotus feet, we can today pray to Srimati Radharani, Radharani, I want to be, you are my mother, please give me resignation from Durga Devi. And that's what Srila Prabhupada said is the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srila Prabhupada was asked, what is the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a call by a child, desperate call by a child for the mother Srimati Radharani in order to get resignation from the service of Durga Devi, from the service of these three Trishul, the holder of Trishul, that is Durga Devi, the Bhauma Sakti, material energy. Saukumarya Srishta Palla Bali Kirti Nigraha Chandra Chandano Kalendu Sevya Sita Vigraha. Chandra Chandano Kalendu Swabhimasha Ballavisa Kamata Pavadhika Mahiyamatma Padapatma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā Vallavisha kamata pavadhika Mahiyamatma Saukumarya Shrishta Pallavali Kirti Nigraha. Bali is a cripper, and you will see there is a cripper at lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. On the left lotus feet, there is a cripper under the flower and a breast and a ring. There is a cripper and a moon. Yes? So Srimad Kaviraj Goswami explains that just like a cripper is so delicate, so soft, you have seen, and especially this is Saukumarya Srishtapalla, newly born cripper. Cripper itself is very delicate. A newly born cripper is more delicate. And that's how is the soft body of Srimati Radharani. Very, very delicate. And Chandra, Chandana, Uttala Indu. Chandra is moon and Chandana is sandalwood. And Srimati Radharani's touch, which is like soft like a creeper, also gives the feeling of cooling feeling like a moon. Chandra Chandanoptalendu Sevya Sita Vigraha. So there is a flowering creeper in the lotus feet of Radharani, just to tell how Srimati Radharani actually gives this wonderful soft touch to Sri Krishna. And in Vrindavan Dham, the creeper is always connected to the tamal tree. So the tamal tree is considered as Krishna and the creeper is Radharani, and they always do vivaha, the marriage of the creeper and the tamal tree. And devotees, we are also, our bhakti is also like a creeper, which is very, very delicate. And our faith is also delicate. And this material energy is extremely powerful, extremely powerful. You just go out. Our consciousness, which is supposed to be at the feet of Krishna and Radharani, gets completely overpowered by the material energy. Yes. So that's why one who takes shelter of Radharani's lotus feet, always the bhakti lata of that devotee remains protected and is nourished. And then there is a wonderful sign of a moon at the lotus feet of Radharani. Just like the moon cools the mind of Krishna, the moon cools the desires of Krishna. Kama, tapa, rādhikā. And the moon is the source of all rasas. Scientists explain how through photosynthesis all different fruits are born. But how every fruit gets different rasas? It's because of the moon rays. That's Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. And there may be so many stars, Chanakya Pandit says, Ekos Chandra Tamohanti. So many stars can be there, but one moon actually gives the light and subsides the darkness. So similarly, Srimati Radharani is the moon among all the star-like gopis in Vrindavan, and that's how there is a beautiful song which Rupa Goswami has sung. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. 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 Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Akula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Among all the Taruni Mandal, all the wonderful gopis who are like stars, Srimati Radharani is like the moon. And then there is an elephant god, Ankus. You see an Ankus? Where it is? Yes, near the lotus on the left feet. So it explains how Srimati Radharani controls the mind of Krishna. Rupa Goswami has said, if you find Krishna alone near the Bamsi Bhatt, never go there, because there is no guarantee what Krishna will do with you. Only go to that Krishna who is near Srimati Radharani, because I guarantee you will remain protected. And as Bhakti Dir Damodar Swami Maharaj had come, His Holiness Bhakti Dir Damodar Swami Maharaj had come, he was telling that Krishna is very trickish. But that trickish Krishna is controlled by the god of Srimati Radharani. And that's why we worship Srimati Radharani. We say Hare Krishna. In Vrindavan Dham, when devotees would meet, all other people would meet and tell Srila Prabhupada, Radhe, Radhe. Srila Prabhupada would say, Hare Krishna. Because we only want Krishna, but we want Krishna along with Srimati Radharani. Then we'll remain protected. So, also, just like elephant god controls by surrendering to lotus feet of Radharani, our mind also gets controlled. Srimati Radharani is the nourisher, is the moon that nourishes all the devotees and controls the mind of the devotees and destroys the distress. There is a wonderful story of a Brahmana who comes to Sri Vrindavan Dham. This Brahmana had a daughter, but he was a bankrupt beggar. And you know in these times how you need a dowry to get your daughter married. I don't endorse giving dowry, but the story says like that. And this Brahmana was looking for a suitable match for his daughter, but was not getting anyone because everyone was asking some dowry and the Brahmana had nothing. So finally the wife of the Brahmana sets him away, go for begging and get some dowry and get our daughter married. So this Brahmana comes begging and begging and begging, and he hears that there is wonderful, the king of Vrindavan Dham, Krishna, and he comes to Vrindavan. And while this Brahmana reaches Vrindavan Dham, Krishna and Radharani is playing swing. And this Brahmana pays obeisances. So Krishna jumps from the swing and comes and pays obeisances to the Brahmana and says, what do you want? Now I am a very poor Brahmana. I have heard that you are the king of Vrindavan. I want some charity so that I can get my daughter married. I can get some charity, through that I can give dowry, and through that my daughter will get married. And Krishna thinks for a while and says, personally I do not have any other wealth than Radhika in Vrindavan. If you want, you can take this. And then this Brahmana became more distressed. He was saying, hi, alas, alas, alas. I had one daughter, and if I take another daughter, my wife will never allow me to enter. And you know, when the wife becomes angry, nothing. Those who are married, they know it's really nothing. I was asking one Prabhuji that, have you ever get beaten up? He said, yes, 2 times. I said, oh, it doesn't come in movies. It's actually real. Good, I am a brahmachari. Hare Krishna. So, this, my wife will become very, very angry, and the 2 daughters, wow, I'll get them married. And this Brahmana starts crying and rolling in Vrindavan. And then Radharani sees, she's still sitting on the swing. She comes and what this Krishna did, he was little distressed, but now he's crying. This is Krishna's mercy. Devotees come to ISKCON when they are crying outside and they chant Hare Krishna, they look more miserable in the morning. Anyone comes in the morning time japa session of our ISKCON, find, oh my God, Krishna made their life more miserable. And Radharani, thinking like that, comes near Krishna and says, you go away, I will handle. And then Radharani hears whatever Krishna did. And she calls all the gopis and they made a nice tulabhar. And on one side of tulabhar, Radharani says, oh Krishna, gave me to you, so I will sit on one side. And she orders all the gopis to take their ornaments. And so many gopis from somewhere, they come, and this Brahma was looking, from where all these girls have come? This Radharani will give all these girls to me or what? My wife will do court martial. And all the gopis, so many gopis, they come from somewhere and they start giving all the ornaments, and put it on one taraju, and then it becomes balanced. And Radharani says, take all these golden ornaments and get your daughter married and come and eternally reside in Sri Vrindavan. So this is the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's why we surrender to Radharani and then surrender to Krishna, and we always remain protected. If you directly surrender to Krishna, it is very dangerous. And this pastime happened in Barsana in Dangad. Vishwavandya yovatabhi bandita piyarama rupanavya yovathan Rupanavya yovanadi sampadana sama. Srila Leelaya cha sayatosti rādhikā mahyamatma padapatma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Vishwavandya yovatabhi banditabi yarama. Vishwavandya, Srimati Radharani Yovata. All the yuvatis, all the most beautiful ladies of Vishwa, of this world, this universe, they all glorify Srimati Radharani, including Rama, the goddess of fortune. And all the ladies hold an umbrella in the respect, as a respect to Srimati Radharani, and that's how there is a umbrella at the left lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, near the flag if you see. So umbrella represents how the all beautiful ladies of Vrindavan and all the beautiful ladies of all this universe, they worship Srimati Radharani and respect Radharani, because when Lord comes out, there is a umbrella you hold. And a person who holds the umbrella is the menial servant, right? So all these ladies, they hold the umbrella. Radharani is going. So we must hold the umbrella. So that's how the Acharyas explain that's an umbrella at the feet of Srimati Radharani. And umbrella also, when there is rain, umbrella gives so much of shelter. And Srimati Radharani's lotus feet is such an umbrella that it can accommodate the entire creation and nourish the entire creation with rasa. And then there is a conch shell where the ladies, they play conch and glorify the qualities of Srimati Radharani. There is a conch shell. Where it is? It is near the thumb of the right lotus feet. So all these ladies, Vishwabandhya, they are glorified in the entire world, but they glorify Srimati Radharani. Vishwabandhya Yovata. Those all glorious ladies who are glorified in this entire universe, they banditapi. They also do bandana, including Rama. Why? Rupa Navya Yovanadi Sampadana Yatsama. The beauty, the youth of Srimati Radharani is glorified and declared through the conch shell all around by the ladies, beautiful ladies. Generally, for someone who is beautiful, to glorify someone else as beautiful, it becomes difficult. Yes? And Kaviraj Goswami says that that all these ladies, they glorify Srimati Radharani. And our Acharyas explained that the conch shell, when he blows, it's the time when the altar will open and the darshan will be available. Exactly in the same way, Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, and when devotees surrender at her lotus feet, it opens the darshan of Sri Vrindavan Dham for all of us. And that's why there is a conch. Regarding how different ladies worship Srimati Radharani, there is a beautiful story told by our Acharyas. One time Krishna was glorifying Srimati Radharani. And Krishna was telling, "Oh Radhe, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. You are exactly the beauty of a rising moon." And Radharani became so upset. She said, "Do you think that my face has the poke marks like the moon? What type of appreciation you are making? And do you think just like the Chandrama only remains Chandrama, full moon for one day, my beauty remains for one day, and then I start waxing and waning on all those things?" And then Krishna understood, I made a mistake. I should not have compared with moon. And then Krishna said, "Oh, no. Actually, you're so beautiful, you're so glorious, you're so glorious, you're so glorious, that all the ladies, everyone, all the gopis, everyone falls at your feet and respects, even Yasoda Mai." And then Radharani becomes so upset. She leaves the place and said, "You have become mad. Yasoda Maharani is the queen of Vrindavan. She is mother of everyone. Why she will put her head on my feet? You have become so mad, so ridiculous. I'm going." And then Radharani goes away and Krishna starts speaking, "One day you will see Radhe, one day you will see Radhe, that Yasoda will fall at your feet." And Radharani says, "Get lost, you mad fellow." And then they depart. And some days pass by in Vrindavan. And one day, Yasoda Maharani, while she is coming, it's like evening time. And Yasoda Maharani hears such beautiful kirtans. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Yasoda Maharani hears such wonderful kirtan going on, and she finds so many gopis have made a circle, and in between there is Krishna dancing. And Yasoda Maharani puts her pallu like this and puts like this, tucks it in the west and said, मेरे लाला को लेके आके शाम के समय नचा रहे, खाना पीना खाया नहीं, घर से बुला लिए, नचा ले. And like this, Yasoda Maharani catches Lalita. Hey, Lalita, how dare you bring my Kanha here? And Lalita says, your Kanha? Where is your Kanha? This is not your Kanha. This is not your Kanha. You see, this is Syam Sundar. And then Lalita takes Krishna. Krishna is still young. And Krishna's face. And then there is a tippa, black tippa. You see, this tippa is Syam Sundar. Your Kanha doesn't have that tippa. And your Kanha never knows how to dance. Why we would waste our time with your Kanha? And then Yasoda says, I know, my Kanha never danced. You were all there when my Kanha danced on the Kaliya. And then Lalita becomes more angry. That was not your Kanha. That was my Syam Sundar. And then Yasoda became, how dare you say like this? And Lalita says, you could not see the black spot because he was so far away dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and that's why actually it was our Syam Sundar. And then there is a fight between Lalita and the gopis and Yasoda Maharani, and Yasoda says, we can see how my Kanha dances. If at all it's not my Kanha, let's go to house. And they all, Syam Sundar is just walking, and all the gopis and Yasoda Maharani is very angry. They go, and Yasoda finds his Kanha sleeping. And Yasoda wakes up Kanha. Says, Kanha, come and show how you dance. And then Lalita, Visakha and Radharani, they say that yes. And they say that both will dance together. Yasoda says, no, they cannot dance together. Because what if both of them, if they don't dance together, my Kanha is superior and your Syam Sundar is inferior. And if it gets exchanged, I will never let my Kanha and your Syam Sundar dance together. And Lalita says, come on, Yasoda Maharani, you see your Kanha, and he takes Kanha, and there is no tippa. That black spot. No tippa. Easily we can distinguish who is Kanha, who is Syam Sundar. And if Kanha dances other place and Syam Sundar dances other place, how would the competition work? So then all the gopis make a bigger circle along with Radharani, and all the elderly gopis also join, and then put Kanha and Syam Sundar together, and they sing a different tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they were singing, and you know how it becomes more faster and more faster. Syam Sundar was on the Lalita Devi's side, this side, rolling and somersaulting and doing like this and what not he was doing. And Kanha was also showing different fits. When Syam Sundar will do like this, Kanha will do like this. And it's like a beautiful scene. And as the music, kirtan started becoming faster and faster, then Syam Sundar came to this side and Kanha went to this side, and Syam Sundar, Kanha, they were moving here and there, and Yasoda was wondering, who is Syam Sundar now, who is Kanha? And when they are dancing so fast, the tippa was not visible. And then it became so faster that both of them came to the center and they were rolling. Boom! The music ended. And then there is one Krishna. And Lalita Devi enters the arena, picks up Krishna and starts moving. And Yasoda says, Kana, Kana, Kana. Lalita says, Maya, you see Tippa. Yasoda Maharani feels as if her life has come out. What she will do? Where Kana went? And how this Tippa Samsundar is remaining? And she starts crying and crying and Lalita Devi says, you see, what can we do? We don't know where your Kana went. We really don't know whether your Kana was there or not. It may be your illusion. And Yasoda Maharani cries and cries, and Lalita Devi says, this is our Samsundar. It was made. The agreement was made. The Tikpa is there. We are taking. And because Yasoda Maharani knows that Radharani is respected by all the gopis, even by Lalita, Yasoda goes and falls at the feet. Oh Radhe, please give my Kana back. Please give my Kana back. Please give me Kana back. And Radharani says, go and check Maya in your house whether Kana is there. And then Yasoda Maharani runs to the house and sees Krishna peacefully sleeping on the bed. And then Yasoda Maharani comes back to thank Srimati Radharani and finds neither Radharani nor Lalita nor Samsundar, no one is there. So our Acharyas explain the story how even Yasoda and all in Vrindavan Dham, they worship Srimati Radharani. Hare Krishna. Rasa Lasya Gita Narma Satkalali Pandita Prema Ramya Rupa Vesha Sadgunali Mandita. Vishwanavya Gopayoshi Alido Piyadhika Mahyamatma Pada Padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Rasa, lasya, gita, narma. How to do dance, how to sing, how to all the different arts. Radharani's Pandita. Pandita means expert. Prema, Ramya, Rupa, Vesha, Sadgunali, Mandita, and all the beautiful qualities she has. And there is a beautiful mark on Radharani's feet, the mark of the earrings. The earrings are above the chariot, above the gada. Above the gada and the right lotus feet. And our acharyas explain how Krishna is eager to hear always the melodies sung by Srimati Radharani. And that's why Radharani's lotus feet are having the earrings, which denote that how Krishna's ears are always fascinated to hear the melodies sung by Srimati Radharani. And also how Radharani and all the gopis, they're actually envious of the flute and the earrings. The earrings Krishna wears is in the shape of a sark fish. And the sark fish, when Krishna does like this, it keeps on clinging to the cheeks of Krishna. And all the gopis, they think, how fortunate is this earring? always clinging to the face of Krishna. And how fortunate is the flute of Krishna. I don't know what good tapasya or what devotional service has the flute done that is always clinging to the lips of Krishna, and these earrings are clinging to the cheeks of Krishna. And that's why there is a earring. And our acharyas explain how that the path to reach to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet is by hearing. And great souls, they become great by hearing about Krishna. And all the great souls, they give up all the riches. The earrings refers to all the riches. The Sada Goswamis, they are from spiritual world. Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of the most wealthiest person in the entire world that time. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were prime minister and chief minister, and they gave up everything. They gave up all their riches. What to speak of earrings? They gave up big posts. Tyokta Turna Masesa Mandalapati Srenim Sadatu Chabat Kopina Kantha Srito. And they were wearing kantha. Kantha means, I was searching for kantha to use it in my room. I didn't got it. Because it's like it's an age-old science where people used to use. Kantha is, you take all the rubbish cloth. My mother used to make kantha. They take all the rubbish cloth, or my mother, all the old sarees and whatever you get, you tie it and make a beautiful, nice thing and then use. And those kanthas are made out of rubbish cloth. And those kanthas who become so rubbish that they are thrown out by the Brajabasis, that the Goswamis would collect and use it. You can imagine the renunciation of the Goswamis. They would not even sleep under a tree thinking that we will become attached to this single tree. So these earrings, they refer how the devotees, in order to attain the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, give up all the riches and surrender at her lotus feet. Nischinta Krishna bhajive eita karane unmada karilote ho sannyasa grahane. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains how Swarup Damodar Goswami, in order to worship Krishna, Nischinta, he gave up all the riches of this world. All the opulences of this world, the fame of this world are simply distractions for our unalloyed devotional service to the lotus feet of Krishna. And the earrings explain how we need to give up all these material attachments in order to attain Radharani's lotus feet. And then there is a chariot. I think, I don't know where it is. It's a big chariot on the right lotus feet, almost covering. So chariot, I have seen in Puri, Jagannath's chariot. How many of you have seen Jagannath's big suitcase? 4 people are required to carry Jagannath's suitcase. Gold-plated suitcase of Jagannath. And then there are so many people who carry the flowers and different. It takes about 2-3 hours after Jagannath has sat to fill the chariot with all the requirements for the service of Jagannath. And there are specific pujaris employed to do this job. So chariot represents all the wonderful items that Srimati Radharani has through the gopis in the Nikunjas just to serve Sri Krishna in Vrindavan Dham. And the chariot of the mind of Krishna always hovers around the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And chariot also, according to our acharyas, refers to the wonderful pastime of bringing Krishna from Kurukshetra to Sri Vrindavan Dham. that the gopis and all the Brajavasis, they don't want to worship Krishna in Dwaraka. They want to stay in Sri Vrindavan Dham. In the same song written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vrindavan Ashtakam, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the beginning he says, Na yoga siddhi namamamstu moksho Vaikuntha lokepi na parshadattvam Premapi nashyat iti chetaratum Mamamamstu vrindavana eva vasa. He says that na yoga siddhi. I do not want, O Krishna, yoga siddhis. Na yoga siddhi namamamstu moksho. I do not want liberation from this world. Vaikuntha lokepi na parshadattvam. I do not want being your associate in Vaikuntha. Premapi nasyat iti chetaratum. I do not want to get love of Godhead also. Then what do you want? Mamamamstu vrindavana eva vasaha. I just want to stay in Sri Vrindavan Dham, O Krishna. Because while staying in Sri Vrindavan Dham, one gets everything. So that's how the chariot is explained. Nitya navya rupa keli Krishna bhava sampada Krishna raga bandha gopa yogateshu kampada. Krishna Rupa Vesha Keli Lagna Satsamadhika Mahyamatma Pada Padma Dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Krishna Rupa Vesha Keli Lagna Satsamadhika Nitya Navya Rupa Keli. Different pastimes Radharani orchestrates to give pleasure to Krishna with different emotions. So much so that all the gopis kampada, they tremble seeing the love of Srimati Radharani for Krishna. And in the lotus feet, there is a sacrificial altar. If you see on the lotus feet, there is an altar near the mountain. And this altar represents how Srimati Radharani sacrifices everything for giving pleasure to Krishna. Surrenders everything, her own ego, even to the extent Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sishtastakam says, Ashlishyava padaratam pinastumam. Even if, oh my Lord, you embrace me or you kick me, I am your servant eternally. And if anyone gives more pleasure to Krishna, Srimati Radharani is ready to become her or his servant so that Krishna will be pleased. That is the meaning of this sacrificial altar. And also, if we want to surrender to Krishna and Radharani, we also need to sacrifice to attain her lotus feet. Srimati Radharani's lotus feet is very rare. And then there is a upward line which is called Urdha Rekha, starting from the left thumb to the middle. So this is called Urdha Rekha. It says that how Krishna's mind is always clinging to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and how those who cling to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, those devotees, they automatically get clinged to the Krishna's lotus feet and Krishna's devotional service. And Srimati Radharani's qualities are so great that Krishna's mind gets completely tied up at her feet. Sweda kampa kantakashu gadgadadi sanchita marsha harsha bhamatadi bhava bhushananchita. Krishna netra toshiratna mandanali rādhikā mahiyamatma padapatma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Sweda kampa kantakashu gadgadadi sanchita. Srimati Radharani has Sweda. She experiences this Ashta Sattvic Vikar. Some of the things are mentioned here. Sweda, sweating. Kampa, like we sing morning also, Maha, Prabhu, Shri, Kirtana, Nitya. And Kampashu, she experiences Kampa. Kantakashu, like this, Gadgadadi, Sanchita. Marsha, sometimes she is distressed. Harsa, sometimes he is feeling happy. Bhamatadi bhava bhushanāccha. And sometimes he is angry, sometimes he is happy, like this. And Krishna loves to experience these emotions in the body of Srimati Radharani. And that's how there is a special sign on the lotus feet of Radharani, which is like a barley corn, jab. You see near the urdhva-rekha, there is a sign like this, which is like a barley, jab, which we put in yajna, beginning of the urdhva-rekha. And our acharyas explain how Krishna netra toshi ratna. For Krishna, just like the barley or grain sustains the entire universe, Krishna is sustained by the emotions of Srimati Radharani. And our acharyas explain, there is a beautiful picture mentioning this, what our acharyas explain. One lady has drawn it. How Krishna would come from Dwaraka every evening in the night, and the gopis would be sitting under the tree and crying in separation of Krishna. And Krishna will be sitting on the top of the tree, seeing how the gopis are crying for my love and how much they love me. And Krishna would get nourished by the sight of how the gopis are experiencing different emotions, ecstatic emotions in his separation. So the barley corn refers to how Radharani nourishes Krishna's mind through different ecstatic emotions in her body. And also, she is the nourisher of devotees. Ladini karaye Krishner ananda swada, Ladini karaye bhaktira poshan. Srimati Radharani is Ladini Sakti. She ananda aswadan. She helps Krishna to experience happiness through her ecstatic emotions. And also, she nourishes the devotees with devotion. Ladini karai bhaktira poshan. Just like grain does poshan, Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, and Radharani nourishes everyone, all the devotees. Yakshanardha Krishna Vipra Yoga Santato Dita Nekadainya Chapaladhi Bhava Vrinda Modita. Yatna labdha Krishna sanga nirgata khiladhika mahyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Yakshanardha. Kshana is like a moment, very small piece of a time. Ardha, matlab half of the small piece of time. Krishna Vipra, being separated from Krishna. Santatodita. Srimati Radharani becomes completely numb. And then there are two signs which we will discuss together. They are the 18 and 19. There are actually 19 marks. We have already discussed 17 marks. The 18th and 19th, that is a bracelet in front of the flowering creeper under the chhata, umbrella. And then there is a disc above the umbrella. Below the umbrella, there is a bracelet. And above the umbrella, there is a disc. It explains the Viraha Bhav of Srimati Radharani. When Srimati Radharani is in separation of Krishna, she gets so overwhelmed, so overwhelmed. Sudarshan Chakra was going behind Durvasa Muni, and it was so much. Durvasa Muni can go at the speed of a mind and lightning. But Sudarshan was going so fast, and it was like giving a burning sensation to Durvasa Muni. Sorry. So Sudarshan is extremely, it gives very, very burning sensation. It burned the entire Kasi. We hear in Krishna book, the Pondrak's, what is that? Pondrak's friend, the Kasi Raj. It burned the entire Kasi. That is the power of the burning potency of Sudarshan. And this Sudarshan is there in the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani to signify that the burning sensation that Srimati Radharani feels in separation of Krishna is millions and millions and trillions of times greater than Sudarshan Chakra. Yat Kshanardha, and that too only for a moment, half of the moment. And so much so that all her ornaments, they fall off, and the bracelet falls off in the ground. There is a wonderful story which we will discuss and end in 5 minutes near Prem Sarovar. Krishna and Radharani were sitting, and then there was a bumblebee who was coming and taking the lotus feet, as Lotus was roaming around the lotus feet of Krishna and Radharani and making sounds. And Krishna was getting disturbed, Radharani was getting disturbed, and Krishna called Madhu Mangal to drive away this small bumblebee. And Madhu drives away the bumblebee and says, comes back and says, Madhusudan ko bhaga diya maine. And as soon as Madhusudan chala gaya, Madhu chala gaya. And as soon as Radharani hears the word that Madhu has gone, that Krishna has gone, she starts crying, and Krishna is wondering, why you are crying? What happened? What do I do? And she is crying and crying and crying, and an entire pond becomes out of the tears of Srimati Radharani. And finally, Krishna holds the feet of Radharani and says, oh Radhe, why you are crying? And then Radharani understands, because Krishna is holding the feet, that Krishna is still there. And Radharani says, oh, I thought you went away because Madhumangal said you went away. Because Madhu is also name of bumblebee and is also the name of Krishna. That is the feeling of separation of Srimati Radharani, which we can never understand. And this bracelet also signifies that Krishna, seeing all the bracelets falling down, Krishna uses the bracelet and calms the disabled air of Srimati Radharani near Prem Sarovar, just to calm down and pacify Srimati Radharani. And then the last and most special verse, which is called Phalasruti, because all of us are fruitive devotees, so we are interested of the phala of reciting this wonderful Ashtakam and glorifying the auspicious marks, the 19 marks on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Before doing that, we will just do a revision, just so that you remember at least on Radhastami. So then there is the barley corn, then the urdhva rekha, then the lotus flower. Near that is the disc, the umbrella, the flag and the ankus, the flower and the flowering creeper, and the bracelet and the moon. In the left lotus feet there are 11 marks, and in the right lotus feet there are 8 marks, starting from the conch, then the mountain Govardhan, then the sacrificial altar, then the earrings, then the chariot, then the Trishul and Gada on the both sides of the chariot, and then the face on the hill. Ashtakena yastvanena nauti Krishna vallabha darshanepi sailajati yosidali dulabha. Krishna Sangha Nanditatma Dasya-Sidhu Bhajanam Tam Karoti Nanditali Sanchayasu Sajanam. Krishna Sangha Nanditatma Dasya-Sidhu Bhajanam Tam Karoti Nanditali Sanchayasu Mayyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Mayyamatma pada padma dāsya-dāstu rādhikā. Ashtakena yastvanena. These 8 verses glorifying anyone who recites this again and again. Nauti, he or she will become Krishna Vallabha. He will become very dear to Krishna. Or these 8 verses are very dear to Krishna. Anyone who recites will become very dear to Krishna, and these 8 verses are also very dear to Krishna. Darsanepi sailajadi yosidali durlabhan. Though Srimati Radharani's darshan is extremely rare even to Sailaja, Parvati Devi, but he will get the darshan of Radharani. Krishna Sangha Nanditatma, once he gets the darshan of Radharani's lotus feet, he or she will also get Krishna Sangha Nanditatma Dāsya-Sidhu Bhajanam. He will get service at the feet of Krishna. Tam karoti nanditali sanchayasu sajanam. Even if one accumulates lot of pious credits, heaps and heaps of pious credits, sajanam, from all the times, it may not be possible. By reciting these 8 verses and glorifying the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, at once one will get the Sangha of Krishna. And that's how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has descended. Sri Nitai Gauranga has descended to take all of us to Shri Vrindavan Dham Krishna to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani. So we pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who are the giver of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, so that they can give us eternal residence at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Srimati Radharani ki, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Shri Radhashtami Mahamahotsav ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.